Good evening, everybody, and happy Friday. Welcome to another Fearless Friday here with me, Asia Nasir, founder of Woman of Ascension, certified life coach, and author. So I know, we've been on hiatus for a couple of weeks now, and that is because we have some great things in store for the Women of Ascension. We're creating some great events that I'll be talking to you about later on. But just building the infrastructure, being that this is a new business launch that we're doing, and just wanting to make sure that everything that I'm offering you is exactly what it is that you need, and just making sure that it is top tier in being able, as a life coach, being able to serve you and be there for you and meet you where you are. And so that's what we're doing, just doing some background stuff, but we are back. I am back here ready to have another great discussion on the topic of money mindset mastery, from scarcity to abundance. And this is a really big discussion right now, especially with the new year. You hear, the conversation. My New Year's resolution: I want to travel. I want to start that business. I want to, make a certain income every month. I want to promote. I want to advance. I want to buy that property. I want to own my own home. The list goes on, right? However, when we move into a new year, we're not bringing a new mindset. We're not changing the way we think. And so what ends up happening is we see that we're repeating the same cycle over and over again, expecting a different result, which, as we know, is the definition of insanity. So this conversation is really important because all the things that I just mentioned, wanting to buy a home, starting that business, traveling, all of those things that you say you want, nothing is wrong with any of those things. But in order to maintain those things, in order to achieve those things, you have to change your mindset, because all of the things that you just mentioned is attached and connected to money. And so if we have a mindset that is not in alignment with having more and being more and doing more, we're not going to be able to change that. And so we're going to continue to live a life of scarcity and not a life of abundance. So today I'm going to be sharing two strategies, but it's actually tackling three different topics. And that is the spiritual aspect, because you're going to see why that's so important. So if you're a spiritual person, that's who I'm speaking to. If you believe in God, that's who I'm speaking to. And then the other has more to do with your personal and professional development. So the first thing that we have to do is, when we're talking about spiritual, and this is the reason why I started with spirituality, is because I truly believe that our blessings flow from our Creator, period. We have to do the work, but the blessings actually flow from our Creator. So if you have that understanding of this is where all your blessings flow from, that mindset and that connection has to be on a different level. So a lot of times what happens is we have to embrace our identity, and whether it's flawed or not, our mindset is flawed or not, we have to identify that first before income can even play a part. So if you have a poor mentality, right, that's going to play into why you don't have abundance. So what we have to do is we have to shift who we believe we are before we can try to change what we have, right? We have to change who we believe we are. And this has everything to do with worth. Because having more has nothing to do with having money. It has to do that you believe that you are worth having more, that you believe that you are deserving of having more. So if you don't believe that you are deserving of having more, even if you have the opportunity, it's going to pass you by because you believe that it is not for you, right? So many of us subconsciously, we've grown up in homes, especially if you lived low to moderate income, you have this subconscious mind that you're taught that having an abundance is not for you. That's for someone else. That's for the person that lives on that side of the street, or that side of the town or city, right? That abundance is not for me. That wasn't written for me. So what you have to do, that's what I mentioned before, is changing who you see, who you are. Is when something is planted subconsciously that it's not for you, you have this mentality that you're not worth having that. And that's simply just not true. We're all we're all deserving of having good. And in my faith, it teaches us to pray for that, to pray for good in this life and in the next, right? So it's nothing wrong with asking in this life. And I think no matter what your faith is, our creator wants us to have a good life, wants us to be able to have good. So we have to change this mentality that, we're not deserving of abundance, but that we're like this container for lack. Like, that's for me, that's written for me. You have to change that mentality, and you have to replace the guilt of having, because you've been taught that that's not for you, that when you do have good, having this kind of sense of guilt about having anything or wanting something, into gratitude. Because when you have gratitude, no matter how much you're given, you're going to always stay humble. You're always going to stay, understanding where your blessings flow from. And so, no matter what faith, I think we're all taught the same thing, that when you are grateful for what you have, you will be given more, right? So you don't have to feel guilty about that, because again, our creator shows us that if you're grateful for what I give you, I want to give you more. I want you to have more. So there's no need then to feel guilty. So I think what the first thing from a spiritual perspective is, if we know that that's where our blessings flow, we have to stop just praying to have enough. Because we think, well, I'm not worthy to ask. That'd be selfish. That's asking for too much. What you have to do is you have to look at the intention behind why you're asking for it. What is it that you would want to do with that money? Do you want to do more for your family? Do you want to be able to build generational wealth for your legacy, for the generations coming after you? Do you want to help, giving in charity and helping people who are less fortunate, right? So when you ask for an abundance and not just enough, it's the why behind it, the intention behind it, that means a lot. So if it's coming from a sincere place, and it's coming from a place of wanting to take care of and wanting to be there for, wanting to leave something of inheritance, wanting to do for those that don't have, why would you just ask for enough? So in understanding that our creator, all he has to say is be, and it is, and you can have what it is that you're asking for, especially if you're working towards that. Then stop asking for just enough and start asking for abundance, so that way you can build and you can bless and you can multiply, right? That's what you want to ask for. So understanding why you're asking for it removes the level of guilt. It removes the level of, I shouldn't be asking for that, I shouldn't be praying for that. You absolutely should, especially if it's coming from a good place and wanting to do and be more, right? And do more for others. So that's from a spiritual perspective. And I think that's the foundation of understanding that when you understand who to ask for and how to ask and what to ask, we don't have to be shy about asking that, especially, as I mentioned before, if it's coming from a good place. There's no need to feel guilty about it, right? So moving into the personal and professional strategy, we have to really change the blueprint, especially if we were raised where we didn't see abundance. I know in growing up myself, I'm one of seven. We did, we only had one income coming in, which was what was my dad. My mom did certain things here and there. So abundance, we shared rooms. Hand-me-down was my new clothes for sure, right? I had cousins who gave me clothes, and that was, that was my life. That was my reality, right? But what you can do is, when you have that mentality, is like, okay, that's how I was raised. That's how it's always going to be. That's how it's always been in my family. You have to change, and you have to break that poor mentality cycle by, accepting the fact that your life does not have to look like what you've been raised. And it's okay. The environment that you came from doesn't mean that that has to be forever. And that doesn't mean that that has to be for your children and their children. A lot of times we feel like we're just a product of our environment, and this is what it's always going to be. I don't have, and I've heard this before, because as I mentioned before, I'm a life coach and I'm a business coach. I do consulting. And I hear it all the time. Well, I'm first generation. I never had anybody teach me how to run a business. So, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be successful in this. Like, that's poor mentality. Just because you're a first generation doesn't mean that, or the fact that you want it. You should embrace the fact and accept the fact that you don't have to continue to be a product of the environment that you was brought up in. Your parents did the best for you, and that's great, but you should want more and you should be striving for more. And then doesn't mean that it's wrong or that you should feel bad about it, right? So you have to break that mentality of accepting that the environment that you brought up is always going to be. The way that you do that, though, this is the key. This is the strategy in being able to break that poor mentality cycle, is you have to start creating new normals for you. Because as I mentioned before, growing up myself, I had to share things. I shared rooms, and I love my childhood. As far as that goes, I had several siblings, and it brought us together, right? So, I had to sit up here and had to share. I got hand-me-downs. We didn't have of an abundance, so we appreciated what we had. So I learned a lot from that. I appreciated very little. So you have this great mentality, and it should keep you humble, understanding where you came from. So there's a place for that, but it should not stop you from wanting more and having more. So in order to break that mentality of this is all I know, this is all I've seen, you have to create a new normal for you. So what that means is new habits, especially when it comes to money. A lot of times when you come from a poor mentality background, or you have this you never grew up with a lot of times, whether you need to spend it or not, once you get it, you're like, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna buy that, I'm gonna buy this. And these are things that we want and not necessarily what we need. And I think there needs to be a balance. Everything doesn't have to be saved. As soon as you get money, I gotta save it, right? There has to be a balance, because I think working hard, there should be some benefits to working hard. There should be some rewards, and you should be able to buy yourself some nice things. So there's nothing wrong with doing that, but not spending all of it just because it's there, right? So changing that habit, because that's what typically people who have poor mentality is, they spend it to get right back to where they were, that comfort level. We enjoyed it, but our reality is we have a lack of. So there's a balance. You be able to buy yourself something, but just because you have leftover doesn't mean let's find something to spend the money on. Let's go ahead and let's put that money away. You may not know what you want to do with the money yet. Could be for an emergency, could be for that traveling that you're talking about, could be that investment property that you wanted to buy, or a down payment for your home. You may not know when, but I want to put some money away. So reward yourself for your hard work, have a balance in everything that you do, but your habit is just not spending it because you know it's there, right? Not saying, oh, I want something and I know I got that money sitting in that savings, so I could go ahead and get it. Do I really need it? Having those goals. So really changing that habit of just not spending for the sake of spending. 2 is the rooms that you choose to be in. And when I say rooms that you choose to be in, I'm talking about even on social media. What accounts are you following? Are you following people that are elevating you to where you want to be, giving you strategies, tools? Are you, when you're networking, if you're networking, or even in the workplace, and when you're in the lunch room, with your coworkers, are you sitting and in conversations and in spaces where people are talking about raising, elevating, promotion, having? Are you talking to them? Are you being able to kind of get a little ideas of how they did it, what they did to get there? So that way now you are learning the tools and the tricks of the trades and the blueprint of getting to where you want to be. The 3rd is conversations. If you're going to be on the phone, are you spending a lot of time on the phone talking about nonsense, talking about people, instead of talking about strategy, talking about, if I'm going to spend time on the phone, let me talk to someone who's going to help me, connect with someone, connect to this place, give me some resources, give me some food for thought. Hey, you need to check out this podcast. This person was talking about exactly what you're trying to do, and they gave some really great strategies for you to be able to do that. I think you need to listen to it. Are those the conversations that you're having? Are you still having the same conversations that you're having with people that you talk the same conversation 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and you're still talking about the same thing. These are habits, these are norms that you had before that did not align with where you're trying to go, but you have to change it and create the new norm. I don't have conversations about people anymore. I have conversations about abundance. I have conversations with people about elevating. I have conversations with people about investments. I have conversations with people about promotion, right? Changing your conversation and in the environments that you're in. I've seen a lot of people, and I think we all have, from a celebrity standpoint, and we see it time and time again. Sometimes they end up going back to, they get this opportunity, whether it's a singing career, whether it's a rap career, whatever it is, they get this great opportunity, and yet they still want to stay in the environment in which they were brought up in, which sometimes is violent, sometimes very dysfunctional. And then what you hear later, they were either unalived, or they are, found themselves in a bad situation, and people will say it, oh, wrong place, wrong time. No, wrong people. You're the environment, wrong place. Yeah, wrong people. You're in an environment that is not conducive to where you're trying to go. You're in environments that can lead you down a path that you may not be able to get back from. So changing the environments in which you're in, start, moving in different places, going out and hanging out in places that are healthy and safer for you, right? So changing those norms, and you're going to hear it. People going, without you change. Thank you. That's exactly the point. That's exactly what I'm doing. Doesn't mean that you love people less because they don't, or family members that are, haven't changed. I still love you, but I have a goal. I'm trying to achieve something, and I have to make changes in order to be able to achieve those things. I can't have the same mentality and think that I'm going to achieve. I can't be in that same space. So that's actually a compliment to you. And people who really care about you will support your change, want to have that change, and may even peck at your brain as, hey, how you doing it? Bring me with you. I want it too, right? So those are the habits that you have to change. The habits, your spending habits, the rooms that you're in, the environment that you're in, as well as the conversations that you're having. You have to change that, right? And this is a big one. This is a big one. You gotta take some self-stock and assessment and audit who you're taking or who you're learning from. See, a broke mentality, poor mentality, don't really have any goals, not self-starters. How are they leading you? Poor money habits. How are you learning from them? How are you taking from them? What are you learning from them? So take stock of who you're learning from, because if you're not getting to where you want to go, but you're listening to the same people, that's why I said conversations that you're having, you may have to change the room that you're in, and having conversations with people that are living proof that they've made changes and they got the blueprint to help you do that. So you got to take stock with who you're learning from, who you're connected to. This is huge. And the reason why I say who you're connected to is because sometimes you may have that blessing on you, but because who you're connected to, you won't get it from God. Why? Because that person is not who God wants to bless. And as long as you are attached and connected to that person, you're blocking your blessing. So you got to take stock of who you're connected to. You got to ask yourself, since I've been friends with this person, since I've been married to this person, since I've been affiliated with this person, have I elevated, or have I actually seen my life actually dwindle and going backwards, right? That's a cue. That's a cue to you that maybe you're not equally aligned, whether that's a friendship, personal relationship, spiritual relationship. Maybe you're not aligned, and that person is blocking your blessing. You have to really take stock of that and see that, right? And what voices are shaping your decisions? What voices are shaping your decisions? Who are you listening to that maybe you shouldn't be listening to, that's the loudest in your head and lives rent free in your brain, and it's never taking you where you want to go? It actually takes you the opposite. You got to shut the noise. You got to mute that distraction, and you got to start sitting up here. And the only way you can mute that is replacing it with better conversation, stronger voices, more advised, informed voices that can help you get to where you're going. So that money mindset mastery has to change based on your surroundings, your environment, your habits, your day to day. So what I challenge you to do for the next week, you got to start small and then continue to move on. But just for this first week, I want you to pick something, one thing that you're going to do differently that aligns with where you're trying to go and not where you've been. One thing that you're going to do. So look at what it is that you want. So is that listening to a podcast? Is that tuning off accounts that you have on your social media page that really takes up a lot of your time, and it's all about nothing, talking about a lot of nothing, and it's distracting you from when you want to, whatever that habit is, whatever that thing is that you're doing. I want you to take one thing and then next week do the same thing and the same thing, and you will see that each week you will get closer and closer to where it is that you're trying to go and trying to be versus where you've been. Okay, so that is what I wanted to share with you on this Fearless Friday, and I hope it was beneficial for you. I hope you was able to take it. And if you know someone who you know is trying to make changes and it just seems like they're stuck, they're kind of stagnant in their movement, share this video. And if you enjoyed it, please like this video, because this actually grows the algorithms for people to be able to find this video when people are looking to transform their mindset and things like that. It will actually resonate on the algorithms, and it would lead that person there. So pay it forward and share this video, like this video. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to Woman of Ascension here on YouTube and hit that notification bell, because every other Friday I'm going to be here sharing some great information, all to help you have that transformational journey that's going to be beneficial to you in all areas of your life. If you are looking to book a session with me for life coaching, I am actually going to put my email on here. And what I will do is then send you an assessment, and that way we can move forward in booking you that one-on-one consultation with me, so that way we can move forward to where you're trying to go and then plan a strategy to help you get there. So here is my email address. I just posted it up here, so you'll see it. It's womanofascension@gmail.com. It's very easy. So as I mentioned earlier in this session, I actually said that I had something I wanted to share with you later. I am having my business launch party on April 11th. Yes, April 11th, I am having my business launch party for Women of Ascension, and it is going to be a day of empowerment. I'm going to be doing an amazing workshop for women, and it's limited space. It's only for 20 women. So it's going to be a very intimate space, and the topic or the theme of this one day empowerment workshop, along with it being my business launch, is called Reignite to Rise from Burnout to Breakthrough. So we all know that in that beginning year, you got it. That first 3 months, you're on your grind, you're trying to hustle, you're trying to get there. But then you hit that springtime and you're like, I'm burnt out. I'm not necessarily where I want to be. And you start, kind of backtracking and so forth. Not with Women of Ascension. Women of Ascension is to help you get exactly where you want to go and helping you get there with strategy, purpose, and intention. So that's what, going from burnout to breakthrough. And when I tell you what we have in store is amazing. We're going to have amazing food. We're going to have workshops, activities, networking, vending. We're going to have so much, and a launch into more of what Woman of Ascension is willing to offer, and maybe even book your one-on-one life coaching session. So I'm going to share the link here as well. It's right on Eventbrite. You can buy, there's two options. There's one for VIP. So I would, get that VIP ticket, or our general admission. And we have a program. So if you have a business or you have a talent or something that you want, we have an ad that you can place on there as well, so we can promote your business at my business launch, because I'm all about supporting, and it's not going to take my crown away or tilt my crown by letting you shine as well. So again, that's what I wanted to share with you here on Fearless Friday. Join me again 2 weeks from now to be able to share in another amazing conversation. And if you have a topic that you think I should talk about here, let me know, email me, and we will have that discussion. So I'll see you, God willing, in a couple of weeks.